Yeah, take a look at that. Away from home, Liverpool with 23 shots, 11 of them on target. Arne Slot's side thoroughly deserving of the victory. For more on this, Stewart Robson joins us. We'll hear from Robbo in a moment. But let's kick things off, shall we, Stevie? As a former Liverpool man, the perfect response, considering what we saw at the weekend against Forest.
Well, it was a perfect response after they went behind, to be honest. When they went behind, I'm thinking, well, was this the result of the weekend not a fluke? But then they answered that question as well. I mean, totally dominating, passing and moving. Salah's hit the crossbar twice. More opportunities. Jota was a little wasteful, I thought, in the penalty box. But overall, in terms of the football, it was a great display.
Liverpool just in complete control, wasn't it? After that goal they conceded, kind of rolled their sleeves up and went, right,
Well, it's not a good Milan side. I mean,
no, of course.
It's a good Milan side that started the season very well, and you look at this playing squad, it's not the strongest. But look, away from home, off the back of that defeat you mentioned, totally dominant. Second half, foot off the gas a little bit before they got the third goal, so it did allow them back in again. Again, Gravenberch, excellent. Gakpo, terrific. Really, really good. So lots of good performances. Could have easily won by 4 or 5. So, yeah, look, Arne Slot had these 3 games at the start of the season prior to Forest where it was like, this is fantastic, this looks really good. And then obviously that was a punch in the nose. So, as you said, the last thing he wanted and they wanted was another defeat off the back of that with even more questions. So, they've put that to bed.
Robert, as Craig rightly says, obviously this is not a great Milan side, but were you expecting more from them today?
Well, once they scored the first goal, you expected slightly more from them. You know, they've got a good left-hand side. Leao only showed on a couple of occasions his pace and his ability to go past people. Theo Hernandez is a great attacking fullback. I'm not sure he's quite so good defensively. In central midfield, I thought they were completely outplayed. You know, Craig just mentioned 1 or 2 players. Gravenberch has been outstanding, but also Szoboszlai was absolutely superb at times with his passing, his movement. But Milan aren't a great side. They were too narrow at times. It was easy for Liverpool to keep switching the play. Tsimikas and Gakpo down the left-hand side caused all sorts of problems. Tsimikas' final pass wasn't always great, but the switch of play was on all the time. And they kept their width, Liverpool. I thought it was an outstanding performance for them, but not particularly good from a sluggish and sort of one-dimensional Milan side, really.
What's interesting is Robert mentioned Gravenberch there, and I watched a lot of Liverpool games with you last season, Steve, and you were not convinced at all.
At all.
What's happened this season?
He's just playing in a completely different position. Under Klopp, his position, yes, was in the midfield, but it was more about going forward. This Gravenberch is about winning the ball back. And his starting position has been so good that he has been breaking up all kinds of different plays from every single game that he's played in, regardless of whether it's Milan or Ipswich. You know, even against Forest he was doing it. It just so happened that the front 3 weren't at it at the weekend. So it's a completely different position. He's been asked to do completely different things under Slot than under Klopp. And right now, he's as good a player in this Liverpool 11 as anybody. No question.
And who thought we'd be saying that at the start of the season?
And he's switched on defensively, and I think that's helping McAllister, who also likes to sort of meander forward, and you wouldn't call him an out-and-out defensive holding midfielder. That's why Liverpool tried to get Caicedo, they tried to get Lavia, they tried to get Zubimendi, they tried to get... Yep. So they've tried to get players, but to help McAllister in there, I'll certainly give him a bit more leeway. But this partnership is working great, and there was one point in that second half when Rafael Leao skinned, I think it was Kanate, came out to the right back. He got skinned by the pace, and he's a quick fella, and it was Gravenberch that got back right on the goal line almost to stop the cross coming in with a sliding tackle. So he's linking up the play. He is understanding the game defensively. He's got good legs to get around the field, so he can do that. He's quick, he's strong, he's physical. He's been very tidy on the ball. But I think the defensive aspect of it is the surprise for everybody, that he's taken on board that side of the game and his responsibilities to cover Trent Alexander-Arnold or Tsimikas or Robson or whoever it is stepping out, and he's done that brilliantly at the start of the season. And it's just one of the subtleties that has changed in this Liverpool side, that, you know, they did lose a lot of goals at times over the last year or so, and they did look a bit vulnerable. And I think the manager said, look, we've got good players going forward. We're always going to cause problems to the team. Obviously, they didn't do it at the weekend. But we need to make sure we've got a solid base, and him and McAllister in there at the moment, with Szoboszlai, who, as Robbo said, has also been brilliant, but he's been playing further forward. That 3, but particularly that 2 in front of the back 4 is giving them a lot more solidity, and they're very tidy on the ball.
Robbo, for Milan going forward now, obviously, as Craig mentioned, a poor start to the season. This defeat, where they really lacked any sort of cutting edge throughout the whole field. What can we expect from them? Have they got the personnel within this squad to improve?
I mean, they've got to play better than they did today, I'm sure. And Serie A, they're not going to play against the Liverpool side all the time. But, you know, they've got some decent players. Pulisic, we know, can have his on days. Leao, on his day, can be an outstanding player. I'm not sure that Reinders is a number 10. I think he should be playing slightly deeper, and Loftus-Cheek should be playing in that sort of area. Fofana looked uncomfortable today, made too many fouls. He couldn't get around the pitch. People kept on running off the back of him. But I wasn't particularly impressed with their defending at set plays. I mean, 2 of Liverpool's goals came from set plays played right into the 6-yard box. And if you look at the 2 centre-halves, neither Pavlovic or Tomori are particularly good in the air. When they brought on Gabbia late on, he's a much better header of the ball, as he showed in the other box. But you've also, if you haven't got big centre-halves, your goalkeeper's got to come and do better for those goals that they conceded. Milan, at the moment, are struggling. Fonseca's struggling. I think there's already been talk about him not lasting much more than before Christmas. So they're a side under pressure. I just don't think they're quite good enough to make that top 4 position at the moment.
I don't think... Do we think, for his talent level, his physicality and his pace, is it just me, or does Rafael Leao do enough on a consistent basis? Because he could skin any defender.
It's flashes, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah,
There's no consistency.
Yeah. He should be frightening. I mean, up against Alexander... Yeah, he skinned Kanate in the second half. He had his moments in the game. Every time I see him, if he's playing for Portugal or Milan, he has his moments. But with all the skill sets that he has for the modern game, he should be frightening the life out of defences every time he gets it, and, more importantly, better end product.
Yeah. That's the same narrative about Rafael Leao for so long.
I see it in flashes.
It doesn't look as though he's engaged in the game. And it's the same with Portugal. It's almost like he's floating around, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe do a little bit now. I mean, he doesn't seem engaged. He doesn't look interested.